So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yesterday, I did this same video yesterday, sort of, and my updates weren't, well, my updates turned on this morning, so I wanted to make sure everything was updated, and it was skipping. So, anyways, you have cancer, you have some aggressive diagnosis, you have, oh heck, I don't know, you're in the hospital. Maybe you're in hospice. Maybe you're taking care of somebody in hospice. Well, I'll tell you what, anyone that takes care of somebody that's an adult needs to make sure the adult knows what Jilly Juice is. And they have to at least watch a video and get my book and read it. And then understand that pain is going to be involved. Okay? So let's take to the very extreme, hospice. Hospice is where you let everything go so bad to where even the system can't even help you. The system is waiting for you to pass away. And they try to make you as comfortable as possible. But how can dying be comfortable? It's not. The body's trying to survive and it's trying to live. And so you're in pain all over. So that's why morphine and painkillers are very popular in hospice, because the person, hey, Darla, because the person is just deteriorating so rapidly. And so it's like, really, there really isn't anything anybody can do, because yeah, you could give them Jilly Juice, but they're going to be in so much pain that they're going to say, screw it. I'd rather just go. I've had my 50, 60, 70, 80 years of life. I'm fine. I've come to terms with everything. I have no regrets. I'm ready to go to the other side. And then you don't argue with them. Okay? Okay, so that's the extreme level. And so when I was linked to this person's death over there, or down there in Georgia, or wherever heck he's at, Jilly Juice doesn't kill. Okay, when someone's in hospice and they really fail to realize the amount of hurdles they have to go through on Jilly Juice, they're going to give up. Okay, if you're not really fully aware of what you must face to actually heal at the cellular level, you will give up. It is a total fact, because I'm telling you, we've been programmed for such a long time that pain is not something to deal with. That pain is something to eradicate, like right off the bat. And then we have all these things at our fingertips to go and eradicate pain just like that. Alcohol, drugs, sex, detoxes, painkillers, antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, you name it. There's something out there for somebody who doesn't want to deal with pain. So somebody that's in hospice trying to overcome all of their predispositions, and there are many, the odds of them sticking with J-Juice without a major support system are very slim to none. So it was inevitable that the person that was trying to do J-Juice, okay, wasn't really going to stick with it, especially when it was rolled out in the beginning. I mean, he did the protocol, or he tried to do it, because let me tell you, you can't just drink a bunch of J-Juice and think that you're going to be healed. You know, when you're in hospice or you have cancer, disease, and chronic illness, you'll be doing tiny sips. Maybe you'll try to do, maybe when you're coherent enough, like that guy Bruce, to where you could start drinking like a quart, but you won't get past a certain amount. He might have only done like 2 cups and said, forget it. And then switch to like pineapple juice or some other types of sugary juices that are easier to take in. And it doesn't energize the body. It just feeds more of the fungus. Okay? So anyone that is in hospice or has a major diagnosable disease, like major, and they're in the hospital and they're going, okay, I'm going to do all these different procedures, you know, they're not going to be doing a whole lot of J-Juice. They're going to be doing a little bit at a time, and they're going to start feeling the first, and I don't know what the first thing is going to, you got to do waterfalls, yes. So you got to take it enough to do waterfalls. But as soon as you do waterfalls, you know the healing's going to begin, because you've now cleared the pipes, and now the nutrition is going to get into all of your cells, and the body is going to finally go to work the way it was meant to. And it's not going to be easy. Okay? So that's why I try to get you guys, before you let yourself go to that point where it's going to be a point of no return. Because let me tell you, when you are at the 11th hour, the 12th hour, the 11th hour, it's going to be painful. It's not altogether impossible, But you really have to have a good support system because you could be like, just, I mean, I know someone that said that they did it, they don't want to drink it because it tasted, they didn't like the taste of it. So their first sip or their first gulp or whatever it was uh, done by an enema. And so they held really, a very intense amount in their anus. And it really just, oh my God, they had a hard time. I mean, their biochemistry was shifting, his equilibrium was off. It was like it was a trip to them. Okay. And so that's why you do it through the mouth, because that way you know how much to take. And your body will tell you, okay, that's too much healing at one time. Do a little bit. And you transition on the protocol, because whenever you transition to any environment, there's a period of adjustment. You just can't go like put yourself into a microbiome without any kind of intermediary, especially when your body hasn't transitioned to that microbiome. Just like when people are that don't have the immune system for the COVID, and they get exposed to a large dose of the COVID, and then they're in the hospital because all these antibodies have then accumulated. Okay, there's got to be a period of adjustment. And so if you have cancer, you have disease, you have chronic illness, you have all these major diagnosable diseases, you're going to feel an exacerbation of everything that you've ever felt while you've been sick. And then who knows, some other stuff that you didn't know that you had an issue with because it's been overshadowed by your current disease. So this isn't going to be a rose garden. It's not going to be easy for those that have let themselves go so far. But again, it's not impossible. But you better have a good support system around you. And sometimes you don't have a good support system around you. And so you have to prepare yourself that if you're going to be drinking the J juice, that at the times that you feel strong enough, where you take a break from the J juice for a minute and you do your shopping, and you make sure you do enough shopping if you don't have to go to work, to make sure that you have enough for like a week or two. So that way, if you are laid up in bed and you really can't, really don't want to go anywhere because you're feeling sick, that you have all of your resources there. You're not going to be drinking gallons and gallons and gallons right off the bat. You might go through a gallon in like 2 weeks. It just depends on your situation. Okay? And so with the J juice, it can fit in with every lifestyle. But those that are diagnosed with a major disease, you're most likely home. Okay, maybe you have someone taking care of you or helping you out, which means that they have to understand the J juice, because if you're going through some healing symptoms where you feel something and it's a little scary to you and to somebody else, you don't want them freaking out. Though, hey, if you need to go to the hospital and get all your tests. And the people that have cancer, they're in remission and they're doing the J juice, and they had, events that were never had to do with the J juice, but they wanted to go and make sure that their tests were great and all their sodium levels were perfect. All of their tests came out fine. Nothing, was amiss. And so it's just like, okay. And then they go back home, but they just want a confirmation from the hospital that all their test levels were good. Okay. So, but that's the thing, is if you live with people who don't really understand J juice and they're against it, and you're also in a major diagnosable situation, that's going to be a harder hill to climb up. And that it may be altogether impossible, because when you have people in your home actively working against you, it's going to be harder for you to heal, because now you have to not only have to fight your body, getting it back to what it's supposed to be, but then you have to fight people around you who have been trained by the system to destroy us at a certain time. And not that it is like an actual set intention, but what is the word antibiotic? Anti-life. Anti-inflammatory. Inflammation is when you have your prostaglandin hormones and your antibodies, all these things come to surface trying to heal you. And so you're taking something to stop the healing. Anti-parasitic, well, parasites need a host. Guess what? You take something that's an anti-parasitic, you destroy the host. You take an antiviral, viruses need a host. Guess what? You take something that's antiviral, you destroy antivirus, you destroy the host. That's you. You take something that's antimicrobial. Well, your microbiome is made up of viruses, parasites, protozoa, protein, fungus, and bacteria. You take anything that's antimicrobiome, it needs a host. It is you. It is destroying you. So you have to understand that every single prescription drug, every single holistic remedy, whether it's garlic or bentonite clay, now garlic in a massive form, not just like spiced garlic. If you're taking turmeric, you're taking garlic with hot peppers, with apple cider vinegar, all of that destroys your microbiome. It causes so much acidity, so much imbalance that then it starts to, then it shortens your telomeres. And that's why the holistic industry is no different than the allopathic industry. If actually they're worse, because people don't know how to dose themselves when it comes to the holistic world. They think, oh yeah, it's natural. It means I can take as much as I want. BS. You take so much of kombucha or apple cider vinegar, which is like sugar and probiotics, you'll get lactic acidosis. Lactic acidosis is a real thing. It's when you have too much acid, lactic acid. When you have so much microbes that are giving off the byproduct of lactic acid, lactobacillus. Yes, it's in the J juice, but guess what's the balancing force? It's the salt. It's the water. That's why J juice is so amazing, is because you'll never have an overabundance of anything, because the energizing part of the J juice is the salt. It energizes your body to release any excess. But you take something like kombucha, which is like a fermented fruit or tea, okay? And you drink massive amounts of it, or kefir, like fermented milk, you can get lactic acidosis. Okay? And so you must have a balancing force to be able to release the excess entities in the microbiome. You're supposed to have parasites in your body, but not like so many where you have a parasite infection. Infection means that you have too many. So you can have a cancer, which is a protein infection. Cancer is when you have so many antibodies that cause anomalies and misprogramming, disinformation to the cells, and those cells replicate. And that's why people go in and get tumors taken out. They get parts of their body scooped out because they're trying to stop the cancer from spreading, metastasizing. Why don't you just reprogram your body with the right chemistry instead of trying to cut out parts that are misinformed? But that's the allopathic holistic industry. It's all about anesthetizing. It's all about drugging. It's all about cutting something out until there's nothing left. And so, yes, if you are at the 11th hour and you have a diagnosable disease, or you're going to get diagnosed with something, do the J juice and then do whatever your doctor tells you. You can do them simultaneously. Yes, it's going to be a longer process because you are bringing in some very aggressive elements like chemotherapy, like radiation, potentially cannabis or cannabis oil. You could be taking the ECAT, but those are all major antibiotics. Those will shorten your telomeres. So that's why people who do the chemotherapy, radiation, cannabis, all of that, they were dubbed a candidate because they still had enough life with them to handle something to take away. They can handle the hit. They can handle, if they have, let's pretend they're at 50% capacity, and the chemotherapy, cannabis, ECAT, whatever, radiation would maybe take away 10 or 20% of their life. They can afford it. Hey, yeah, they'll take off 10 years of their life, but they can afford the hit. They can afford the time to give to, and I call it time because I was just watching a movie called All About Time or something about time, or In Time, where time was their currency. And so when the allopathic holistic industry tests you to see if you can do their remedies, they're trying to see how much time you have left and if you can afford to take off a few years of your life to do their remedies. And so that way you can, even though you're going to come back to work instead of at 70% capacity, now you're at 50% capacity on a light duty, but at least you can go back to work and kind of go through your daily routine without too much of a problem. But, people have taken, different jobs because they can't do what they used to do anymore because they're at They're not at 90% capacity or even 100. They're at 50, 40, and each year it goes by, they're not regenerating. They're going to be watching their battery drain. And then you watch the hair grow gray, you watch the person balding, you watch the face become more gaunt and more sallow. They're losing energy, they're losing life force. You're watching your friends and family pass away in front of your eyes. But that is their choice. You can only tell people so much that they don't have to. But that's the whole thing with why it is that it's going to take a minute for those that have major cancer, that have a major diagnosable disease, and they're doing JJUS and they're doing chemotherapy and radiation. It might take them a bit longer, but at least they're giving some life force back to their body with the JJUS. It gives them a fighting chance if they can handle the pain. And that's all we're trying to give people is a fighting chance. But knowledge is the first thing over just doing the JJUS. If you don't understand why you're doing the JJUS, then you shouldn't be doing it. Okay? And so, but to know that pain is going to be the predominant thing on the JJUS. And then you're going to have to balance out how much of a painkiller and morphine and whatever else that you have access to, balancing out with then the healing process. And if you take more morphine and more antibiotics and more anti-whatever over feeling the pain, that's going to win out. The death process is going to win out. So that's why, indefinite life is not popular, because it means that you would have to face the pain. Why? Well, indefinite life is not popular because you're like, that's not possible. Oh my God, that's not possible. Of course. Not in the way in which they deal with your diseases in the holistic allopathic world. Of course it's not possible when you're plying your body with freaking bentonite clay and kombucha and apple cider vinegar and taking organs out and taking limbs off and whatever. Of course it's not possible in those industries. But as soon as you do JJUS, you start taking your body off the market and you stop selling your body to the highest bidder. But I'm glad that I'm reaching even just a few of you, because the system knows, especially with the way Dr. Phil treated me, the system knows the majority of the people are not going to understand JJUS. The system knows this. So they know they're pretty safe, that you're going to keep going and getting their remedies. They know that you're going to go keep getting their protocols and all of their detoxes, and you're going to switch from, I'm going to switch from prescription drugs to supplements, though they do nothing for you, okay, except give you some kind of chemical release that makes you think that it's working. I mean, really, when you take a supplement, how do you know it works? Oh, because I felt my heart palpitations. Yeah, because it just sped up your heart. I've thought that I've taken Primrose, some naturopathic recommended Primrose oil for me for my PMDD. I took one or two. I felt a little light energy, like, I feel energetic. No different than a drug. And then I didn't feel the energy anymore. So then I upped my dosage. Instead of taking one or two of the Primrose oil, I started taking like 6 or 7. I started going through bottles and bottles, and I'd have these heart palpitations. I'd have these weird feelings. I'm telling you, the system knows the habits of the people out there. They know how desperate people are to still maintain their daily life, and they want to stay in the game, but they also want to deal with their sickness, but don't want to feel anything. The system knows this. So that's why I could say what I say, and really, they just think I'm just kind of a fly when you think about it. But that's the intention. I mean, if you Google the Georgia Guidestones, they're trying to take from 7 billion to 500 million. That's a lot of people passing away over the next however many years. I mean, we have UN Agenda 2050 or UN Agenda 21, America something 2050, America2050.org. That tells you the restructuring of America. Yes, there was 9/11. Then we have all these different fires. We have the different wars. We don't see any wars anymore. The only enemy now is the COVID. So there's a lot of restructuring going on, and you've got to be able to survive it. You've got to be able to survive it. You must. 500 million is not a lot on an earth that's huge with 7 billion people. Am I saying that the Georgia Guidestones is correct? Well, considering where we're going, when we have the war of perceptions out there, we have the COVID kicking everybody's asses, we have, what else? We have other things going on. We have these natural disasters, hurricanes and earthquakes and typhoons and monsoons, and oh my God. But the COVID is going to be a major balancing force. It's going to realize some of the things, some of the prophecies, like the Georgia Guidestone. Because I even agree with Georgia Guidestone's guiding reproduction carefully. I even agree with that. And that's scary. So someone kind of knows, someone knows why our society has has sunk into these levels. When you keep reproducing on bodies that are that imbalanced, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to produce children that are imbalanced, and they're going to cause issues out there. So what does the government do? They use these kids with issues to their advantage. And they're just cannon fodder. But that's the reality. When you put your kid in a university, they're being brainwashed, they're being molded to the system's intentions, which I understand you've got to survive in the system. But there are different ways to go about doing it. But hey, some parents don't know how to teach their kids any other way except to go and follow lockstep with these authorities. Okay, yes, we do need to have a balance. But I see that when someone is imbalanced, they will go overboard on a lot of different things. So, that's why I say just do the J juice, take yourself out of the war. When you see something coming your way, you just sidestep it. You know your rights. You don't feed into all the BS, because the war of perceptions is for the people who have imbalances. The war of perceptions are for the people who will not have what it takes to survive, because they will believe, and they will go and react to everything that's out there. And then some people will take it to the next level, and then guess what? They're in jail. They get killed because they put themselves in a situation where they could die. Okay? At this point right now, it's a good time to hunker down. But it's a good time anyways, right? The whole COVID thing. But hey, you're on the J juice. It's not going to be an issue. You're going to be going through healing. However, it's a built-in way for you guys to take care of business and to get yourself out of the war. Because as soon as you go out there, in any way, shape, or form, it is a war. You don't want to wear a mask when you go somewhere where they're all wearing masks. It's a war. You've got to learn how to assimilate. Okay? And so I don't really go anywhere too much. I go to Walmart, and that's pretty much it. And Starbucks. That's where I go. And I live in a state where right now masks are not required. I'm feeling better, so I'm not very contagious. If I had something, which I know I had something because I was very tired the last week. But I don't purposely go out there and mix in with people and crowds and protest and whatever, because I don't have a beef with anyone or anything. I don't even have a beef with myself. I've separated myself from people. I've purposely cut off communication because it wasn't serving them or me. But I don't have a beef with anybody. Okay? So I don't need to fight. There's no marches I need to do. There's no punch in the air, as Christina Morris says, which I thought was pretty clever. I didn't know what that meant until I realized I saw a picture of someone punching the air. I'm like, oh yeah, fight the power, fight the system, blah, blah, blah. I have no need to do all of that. I have no beef with anybody. I have no investment in statues, no investment in symbols, no investment really in anything material. Material things come and go. I evolve, but material things don't last forever. They don't evolve. Okay? So while, yes, it sucks, and I understand people's reactions to what's going on as far as the statues and monuments and things being torn down, we must evolve in some way. And is this a type of evolution? Yeah, and I guess this is a type of upset of homeostasis, type of inflammation going on. Is like being on the J juice and you're like, oh my God, this sucks. Yeah, that's what's going on right now. You're watching someone starting the J juice on a mass scale. Not that they're doing it, but I'm just saying that you're seeing what it's like to be on the J juice in the beginning when your body's going through an upset homeostasis. You're going through an evolution process when you're doing the J juice. Just like we're watching right now, all the things that are going on, the riots, the tearing down the statues, these zones that are like autonomous zones. It's an evolution. We're going through an evolution. And you've got to be able to survive it. There's no point in fighting evolution. Because at this point, people who are resisting the evolution, they will not survive it. They are spinning their wheels and they're not regenerating. They're too focused out there trying to change people and they haven't even dealt with themselves. So find a corner of the world that's relatively peaceful. Stay out of the fray. That's my advice. Not that you have to do that. Try to abide by the law. Actually, abide by the law. Okay? And, take the media with a grain of salt. You know the truth about the COVID. This thing where you're punching the numbers and it comes out like you say, I think what is it on Google says you punch in 324 or any number, any 3-digit number and attach new cases. It'll come up an article with that. And at first it's kind of weird. I punched in 1, 2, 3 new cases and articles come up saying there's 123 new cases in this area. Well, the internet is trillions and trillions of data. There's probably millions and millions of articles out there. Or actually not even millions, let's say thousands and thousands that will have 3-digit numbers from 100 all the way to 999. So you have 1,000 articles that will cover every number between 100 and 999. Okay? 1,000 articles, whatever. It's going to cover every single number. So when you put in 124 new cases, 150 new cases, 130 new cases, most likely there'll be an article that's going to cover something of that number. Or it could be, hell, I don't know, it could be an algorithm. But, but that algorithm brings up every article that covers every single number because there's probably been somebody said that there's been 1 new case, there's been 2 new cases, well, there's been 99 new cases, there's been 100 new cases, there's been 101 new cases, 102, 103, 104, 105. Somebody at some point has said some number because let me tell you, journalism is so prolific that they will talk about every number in the freaking whatever to get people to read their stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are actually 1,000 or 100 to 999. What is that? I should do the math on that. Well, anyways, that's like a concept oh God, 100 to 99, so 100, 200, 300, 400. Yeah, 900, well, whatever. There's a lot of articles. Can I count with math? Sometimes it's just so difficult. So, but I need to do that math. Hold on. Because that's so weird. I want to say it's 1,000, but it's not. Or is it? No. So you have 100 minus 999. So you have 899 articles that will cover 100 new cases all the way to 999 new cases. Okay, that's a possibility. So you just let everything go. For sure. The laws, so you don't believe all the stories. That if there's a virus, it's going to mutate. And when people get together, they're going to pass it on to each other. It's real, okay? And then you just move on and you just do the J juice and you just keep doing your stuff, but you keep protecting yourself. You stay out of the fray and you try to exemplify a well-balanced person, because living indefinitely where you look like Like right now, Bridget, my friend Bridget, looks like her husband's daughter. Eventually, with my husband not doing the JJs, I'm going to look like his mail order bride. Okay? I know that's going to happen. So living indefinitely and looking younger is going to be the specific measurable results. Not because you did plastic surgery, not because you did any kind of, Botox. Because you actually are doing the JJs and it's giving you back your youth and vitality. You don't look your age. I'm 46. Give me 10 years and I'm still doing the J juice. I'm going to still look the same way. That's the whole point of J juice. And then it'll make a believer out of most people in your life, but will it be too late for some people in your life? It might be, and that's just the cross you have to bear. But at least and the people that are younger than you, like the younger generation, will see that, oh my God, this is my aunt. She looks exactly the same she did 20 years ago. What the hell? Is she a vampire? So if anything, you're going to help the next generation. So that's why it's so important to do J-Juice, get the specific measurable results so you can actually exemplify, because telling somebody, unless they read the book and really can understand concepts, seeing is believing, and the time. Okay? The time is going to be on your side. Time will always be on your side because the way they do time. The clocks are all around you. The calendar is like shoved in your face. Everybody lives by, going every year, oh God, it's 2021, 2022, 2023, all of a sudden it's going to be 10 years from now and you guys are still doing the same thing. That's awesome. Okay, so time is on your side, but make sure you keep doing the J-Juice and plan for the future. Because if you're not the major breadwinner, you're going to have to be at some point. Okay. Especially if those around you, if you are being taken care of by somebody who's financing most of your life, and you have, agreements and you're married and all that stuff, that you're going to have to take the reins in some way down the road. And that's a reality. That's a reality I've faced with all the time. I know. That's why I'm really, getting these books out. So I at least have that under my belt. So when people finally realize, oh my God, at least I have that. And then I know that I could do any other job in the world if I really, really want to. And it'll be interesting because you'll see my date of birth. And so let's say 5 or 10 years from now, and I'll be like, in my 50s or whatever. I mean, I'm at 46, 56 in 10 years, 56. Jesus, 56. And that's why you don't put your age on your resume, because you don't want age discrimination. So, so when you go in and you go to your interview, whatever, right? And you're like, yeah, back in or back in 2003, 5, I was doing this, and this. And you're like, yeah, okay. And they're finally doing the math and they realize, my God, you're 56, but you look like you're 20. What the hell? Are you sure you hadn't stolen someone's ID? That's going to be a reality, okay? You've got to realize that that's going to be in your future. Right now, since J-Juice is so new, being on J-Juice for 4 years, if you started way in the beginning, it may take off 10 years, but that's like, look at Cyndi Lauper, okay? She's like in her 60s or 70s. She looks young, but who knows, that could be Photoshop. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a trip the next 10 years. So time is on your side. So you guys have 10 years to get your act together. Okay? I started this in 2016. Opened the group up in 2017. My next book that I'm writing, I'm actually going to recount some of my experiences when I first rolled out the J-Juice. And with some of my moderators, I'm not going to name any names, but I'm going to have, people are going to know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say their names. But, I'm going to recount some events that have been going on that I experienced. So people can get my side of the story. Because right now they're getting the Wikipedia side. They're getting somebody else's version of events. And I have to have my own version of events. So that way people can read my book, the next one, not this one. but the next one, and they can see my side of what I went through dealing with the media, dealing with people demonizing me. And so that will forever be in print. And that way the world can see two sides. Because there's two sides to every story. And then hopefully, you know, the world will change in the future. I can only hope, right? So anyways, so that's really the advice I can offer. You know, if you're in cancer, disease, chronic illness, major diagnosis, it's not impossible, but it's going to be painful. And then those of you on the J juice that are going to be around, you know, that plan to be around, really step up your game, because I'm telling you, it's not getting any more peaceful out there. It's becoming more aggressive, and you have to be able to handle the environment, because the COVID is not leaving, the social change is not leaving, and you've got to be able to adapt. You must be able to adapt. And if you are not the major breadwinner, what are you doing to secure something for you in the future? So that way you have something to fall back on when you know that the major breadwinner in your household is going to be subject to an expiration date. Okay, I know it sounds weird to talk about, but that's the reality. Okay, so those are the things that I think about. Those are the things you guys need to think about. And then we just keep going. So I don't know. I still kind of trip out about that thought. It's so foreign to some people, and it's almost like laughable to them, because they're like, dude, that's just so far out. That's so remote. But not really. Years go by very, very quickly. This summer is going to go by very quickly. Okay, it's 6 months till New Year or Christmas Eve. 6 months. Or something like that. All right, so time goes by very quickly. Utilize it well. Plan everything you have well. Even, you know, the plans, even the best plans can go to shit, but at least have some kind of plan A, plan B, plan C. But really, you know, understand that, yes, it's living for today, but it's understanding that you're going to be around. And you're going to make the right choices, so you're not going to put yourself in any positions where you might pass away or whatever. And what are you going to do for the rest of your life, which can go on and on and on and on. All right. So those are things to think about. So I went from a cancer patient trying to figure out how to do J juice all the way to those of you that are doing the J juice, seeing the results, and how do you plan out your life when you know the people around you are not going to be around? Who is going to be your circle? And that's why we have the group, and that's why we have Facebook, thank God. And even if Facebook goes to crap, we will have some kind of social media surveillance. Okay? I think Facebook is going to stick around, even if the government runs it. Okay. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.